Hi there, and thanks for joining us here at the People's Mission. Let's take our Bibles and read from Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. Live life then with a due sense of responsibility, not as men who do not know the meaning and purpose of life, but as those who do. Make the best use of your time despite all the difficulties of these days. Don't be vague, but firmly grasp what you know to be the will of God. It was Albert Einstein who said that time is what a clock measures. The shadow on the sundial, the striking of the clock at midnight, summer and winter, months, years, centuries, these are all public time, which is common knowledge, something which we all schedule our day by. Do you have the time? I'm late for my meeting is a common phrase we often hear people say. But what exactly is time? What exactly is time? Biological time indicates the regular biological process of life, the signs of aging, for instance. Each heartbeat, each rhythm of breath, each cycle of sleep and waking, each gray hair, each new wrinkle on the forehead and cheek, one more ache in the legs, one more pain in the back. These are all ways the body records the passing of physical time through the biological process. But there's also psychological time, which is another way of saying and referring to private time or subjective time, this inner sense that we have where we feel that time is just moving so slowly. When we're doing something that we don't enjoy doing, when we're bored, or the reverse of that is true. Time seems to move really quickly when we're having fun with our friends and our family. Time flies, as the saying goes, when you're having fun. But these are all ways of measuring time, but what exactly is time? Time is a mysterious thing. No one can add to it. No one can take away from it. No one can pause the passing of time. And every single person has the same amount of time in their day, 24 hours in a day, 168 hours per week, and 8,760 hours per year, which when we think of it seems like a lot of time, but how often do we find ourselves saying, sorry, I just don't have time? While we're all aware of the passing of time, its nature remains mysterious and it remains difficult to define exactly. But when we consider the Bible, when we open up the Bible and when we consider it, we learn that when the Bible talks about time, time is closely connected with life. And both are precious, both are a gift, both are a trust, but also a test. What will we do with our time? What will we do with our life? How will we use our time? How will we use our life? In the Old Testament poetry of the Psalms, the psalmist prays the prayer, Lord, teach us to number our days, to use our time wisely. That's something everyone should take to heart. Everyone should consider that an important admonishment. And what's true for the Christian, what's true for the individual is also true for the collective Christian church. The Apostle Paul, again, wrote those words in Ephesians chapter 5 that we read just a few moments ago. And he encourages us to be good stewards of life, to be good stewards of time. And I'll read those verses once again to just bring them back to mind. Live life then, writes the Apostle Paul. Live life then with a due sense of responsibility, not as men who do not know the meaning and purpose of life, but as those who do. Make the best use of your time despite all the difficulties of these days. Don't be vague, but firmly grasp what you know to be the will of God. The word that Paul uses for time in that verse is the Greek word kairos, which is important because it's a word which implies a specific moment in time rather than a long extended period of time, which would have been the word chronos. And so in his own way, what the Apostle Paul is doing, he's encouraging his readers, he's encouraging you and I to carpe diem, to seize the day, to seize the moment, to not squander the moment, and to make the most of every moment God provides. But again, this admonishment is more than just simply living for the moment without any thought to tomorrow or to the future. culture, which so many people are prone to doing in our age. But what Paul means is for us to make the most of every present moment in light of what we know lay ahead in eternity, something which God has made known to us in his word, the Bible. It was the missionary C.T. Studd who wrote in that poem, "Only one life will soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last." You see, as Christians, we are, as that hymn puts it, we have been ransomed, healed, restored, forgiven, and as new creations in Christ, we are to redeem the present time. We are to redeem the present kairos for God's glory. We live in a time when there's so much evil out there tempting us to squander our time, to waste our time, to use our time for selfish gain and for selfish purposes. But Paul encourages us to think differently, to reevaluate our own pursuits and wants. He encourages us to reevaluate how we think about time and how we use it. It is a trust, but it's also a test. Make the most of every opportunity so that God's name will be glorified in the places you live, in the relationships that you have, in the areas that you work, in each little task that you have to accomplish, in each passing moment that God gives you. And with God's help, we can live life as people, we can live life as a church, as good stewards of time, where we will enjoy God's blessing and enjoy God's unfailing guidance.